Good morning. Well, welcome and good morning. I am Steve Slalka, and I'm proud to serve as your superintendent. I introduce myself every year, not just for those that are new, but so that I can say with pride that I serve as your superintendent. It is an honor to work in the East China School District, and I hope that you feel the same. School Board President Jim Bewer could not be with us this morning, but he asked me to pass along to you his appreciation for all that you do in the service of our students and share his well wishes and confidence that this school year will add to the reputation of the East China School District as one of excellence throughout the county and the state. We welcome this morning Secretary Jeannie Frank and Trustee Pat Biebuck, who are with us this morning. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your service. Busy year in personnel, or busy summer, I should say, and we welcome several new people to the district and several who have changed buildings within the district. If we applaud each one, we will be here for quite some time, so if you would hold your applause until after everyone is introduced, I would greatly appreciate it. I hope not to miss anyone. I apologize in advance if I do. For those introduced, please stand and remain standing so we can recognize you as a group. We will turn the house lights up if we could so we can see our new folks. Thank you. Tamara Andrews is a noon aide at Bell River. Jennifer Antonelli, kindergarten at Gearing. Melissa Collier, Marine City High School and Middle School special ed paraprofessional. Lisa Ford is moving from special ed paraprofessional at Pine River to the same position at St. Clair Middle School. Shirley Frederick is moving from 5th grade at Pine River, and she will now teach geography at Marine City Middle School. Dave Frentz moving from multiple assignments, too many to list, to PE at Marine City Middle School and St. Clair High School. Sheila Gilmore is moving from Marine City Middle School media paraprofessional to St. Clair Middle School as an office paraprofessional. Angie Gleason will be moving from the Eddy Administrative Secretary to the Marine City and St. Clair High School bookkeeper. Julie Gunderson leaves Eddy 1st grade for Gearing 5th grade. Mary Beth Hills we welcome for St. Clair High School French. Jessica Jones is moving from the Great Start Readiness Program to kindergarten at Bell River. Kate Kling Dietland will be teaching at Riverview East High School mathematics. Corey McCullough, Marine City Middle School Special Education. Jess McDonald is moving from math at Marine City Middle School to math at St. Clair High School. Amy McNabb moving from Riverview East High School math to Marine City Middle School math. Kika Milligan moving from 2nd grade at Gearing to elementary art. Sarah Peterson, English Language Arts at Marine City Middle School. Brittany Perry will be doing a long-term sub at Palms. Catherine Phelan is returning to Pine River from a leave of absence. Welcome back. Dawn Pocatello is moving from a paraprofessional position at Gearing to the CI room at St. Clair Middle School. Christy Sagan is moving from elementary media to English Language Arts at St. Clair High School. Pam Schneider moving from 2nd grade at Bell River to a similar 2nd grade position, though at Gearing. Teresa Shandor will be leaving Bell River for Marine City Middle School as the media paraprofessional. Jessica Simons will be moving from special ed at Marine City Middle School to a teacher consultant position within the district. Janice Steelan left that bookkeeping position we mentioned earlier at the 2 high schools for a fiscal services position in the business office. Leslie Struck, is moving from 4th grade at Pine River to 1st grade at Gearing. Andrea Arcetti is joining us, 4th grade at Gearing. Stephanie Vishna moving from 3rd grade at Palms to 4th grade at Eddy. Michael Walling will be teaching science this year at Marine City High School. Kristen Washburn will be moving from elementary art to 5th grade at Gearing. Lori Williamson is moving from the Marine City Middle School office to be Eddy's administrative assistant. And Dana Wilson is moving from 4th grade at Pine River to elementary art. Please welcome our new faces and familiar faces in new buildings. Each year at this time, we recognize the dedicated service of our employees who've been with us for a minimum of 15 years. For those recognized today, the video will direct you to stand after all honorees are introduced, so that all of you assembled here today may thank these members of our staff for their service and dedication over 15, 20, 25, and in some instances, more years.
Service recognition. Service recognition is held annually at the opening day celebration to recognize personnel for their continued service to the East China School District. Service recognition criteria. Professional and full-time support staff recognized at 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40 years of service. Service years are adjusted to reflect unpaid time taken for leaves of absence. Must be hired prior to October 1st for that year to be counted as a full year towards service recognition. If staff changes bargaining units, employees keep original hire date for the purpose of service recognition. Caregivers, neonates, and other part-time support staff with 15 years of service or more and notice to the personnel of such are recognized at retirement. Recognizing 15 years of service. Joe Forgetto, teacher. Kirsten Jelfs, bus driver. Mike Lamana, head custodian. Mike Oberski, teacher. Nina Resnich, principal. Leslie Stauffer, teacher. Carol Worden, administrative secretary. Scott Westerhoff, assistant principal, athletic director. Recognizing 20 years of service. Amy Aker, teacher. Denise Akers, teacher. Christina Angel, teacher. Valerie Cabanella, teacher. David Klutz, teacher. Jason Diller, teacher. Tracy Graven, counselor. Maria Kammer, media specialist. Melissa Kenyon, teacher. Petra Kopervika, teacher. Jan Lee, teacher. Sandy Rutledge, teacher. Amy Schock McNeil, teacher. Tricia Schweiger, teacher. Mark Smith, teacher. Harriet Tulaski, teacher. John Trout Davidson, teacher. Angie Van Heck, teacher. Carrie Wall, teacher. Cindy Wisman, teacher. Alicia White, teacher. Stephen Winkler, custodian. Recognizing 25 years of service. Lisa Broski, teacher. Paul Dimmer, teacher. Kathy Grieve, teacher. Lori Hannon, teacher. Karen Maitland, speech and language. Ronald Miller, principal. Shelley Sulecki, teacher. Recognizing 30 years of service. Linda Bruckner, social worker. Barb Carroll, teacher. Mark Eberhard, teacher. Scott Isley, teacher. Pete Fox, teacher. recognizing 35 years of service. Richard Babowski, teacher. Congratulations, honorees. Thank you for your years of service to the East China School District.
You interact with students and work with students on a daily basis. As such, you are the most trusted voices in the district for their parents, their grandparents, and everyone that comes in contact with those students. Because of that, you are key communicators for our district. And we're going to have a ballot proposal in November that is very important to the health of the district moving forward and has to be communicated clearly. And I need to spend some time this morning sharing that information with you so that when you talk with parents, or parents ask questions, or your neighbors ask questions because your neighbors think you work in the schools, you've got to know what's going on. Right? You've got the inside scoop. I want to make sure that you can answer clearly and correctly, because misinformation, we know, is a heck of a thing to try to undo. So, if I could, we'll take some short amount of time in a kind of a Q&A format. What is non-homestead property? Our non-homestead is not our house. Our house is our homestead. Our non-homestead is any second homes or commercial or industrial property. Right? It does not include your primary residence. Is this a new tax? No. We have to make sure that folks understand that, no, it's not a new tax at all. In fact, the non-homestead has been around since the advent of Proposal A, passed in the early 90s. Okay? And it comes up for renewal in our district approximately every 10 years. I have a house in the district. It's my primary residence. Will I have to pay? No. Again, you do not pay this non-homestead 18 mills on your primary residence. Okay? It is one of those unique things in which you are asked to vote on a tax that you do not pay, or at least the majority of us do not pay. Okay? Will the taxes on non-homestead properties such as local businesses increase? Again, no. We are currently levying 18 mills, and we will continue to levy 18 mills, so that rate will not increase for them either. Why is the district asking for the renewal? Well, as I said earlier, it is tied to Proposal A, and first and foremost, we'll go into a little graphic here shortly, but in order to receive full state funding, we are required to levy the 18 or collect the 18 mills on non-homestead first, and then the state fills in the difference with all the money it collects from us on our 6 mill property tax. The 18 mills is paid locally, collected locally. Your 6 mills on your home is paid to the state and redistributed. So fill in the bucket. Let's say that bucket is our foundation allowance, which is approximately $78.23 per pupil. As I said, the 18 mills is what's collected first. Goes in the bucket first. And then from there, the school aid fund, which is comprised of the 6 mills, the gas tax, some other taxes that were voted on, and as part of the Michigan Constitution, as part of Proposal A, fills the rest of the bucket up to, we have a full bucket and a full foundation allowance. That's the way it should work. But there's this thing called the Headley rollback. And Headley was passed in the late 70s, I think. I think it was late 70s. And when Proposal A subsequently got passed, they work kind of in opposition or competition with one another. Because the Headley rollback does not affect your 6 mills. That's constitutional, that stays, that's in place. But if there is a Headley rollback, it does affect the 18 mills. So if we were to roll back those 18 to something less than 18, but then Proposal A requires us to levy the 18 in order to get full funding, you see how it's kind of a mess. So, yeah, is there a Headley rollback in East China? Yes. The housing market is rebounding. That is a positive thing. It's a good indicator of our economy. But on the other hand, it's not great for local municipalities and school districts, because in Headley it says that if those property values are rising more than the rate of inflation or 5%, whatever is lower is what is rolled back. And we've asked President Bewer if he can remember a time in which the district has experienced a Headley rollback, and he could not. So this very well could be new for all of us and new for our community members who are asking to go to the polls. So we have to be able to explain what's happening. So let's go back to our bucket. And let's say now that there's a Headley rollback and we do not levy the full 18 mills. So if in comparison, and I won't go back, that water level's a little lower than it was before. Okay? And now the school aid fund, they assume we're levying the full 18. They're not making up the difference. So this amount is the same amount that was in the previous slide, and we have lost revenue. We're not in a position to lose revenue. So why is the district asking for 19 mills when the state only requires 18? Okay? Let's first and foremost make it very, very clear. Regardless of what is authorized in the vote by our residents, we cannot levy more than 18. Okay? So why does a district levy more than 18? Because of the Headley rollback. Because if you levied 18, if you authorized, if you approved, if the voters approved 18, and there was a Headley rollback to maybe make that 17-9, then we'd have to go to the voters every single time and say, can you bring us back to 18? And we would be having multiple elections in that 10-year time frame. So school districts, in order to maintain a consistent source of funding, have throughout the state, and again, new for us, but throughout the state, have asked their voters to approve more than the 18, so that when the Headley comes, and let's say in this particular case, our voters have approved 19, and that tenth of a mill Headley comes, and now it's 18.9, right? The voters have authorized 18.9. By law, we can only collect 18. We collect 18, same as we always did, but we don't have to worry about that rollback in terms of our revenue. It's a cushion, if you will. Okay? That's why it's done. But it's going to take some explaining on our part to get people to understand why. And again, wouldn't it have been great if when we passed Proposal A, they would have done with commercial property what they did with our residential property. It's 6 mills, not impacted by Headley. We just go on. Should have been 18 mills not impacted by Headley, but it's not. All right, so what if the proposal doesn't pass? Well, if the non-homestead isn't passed, we collect approximately $14 million of our $40 million budget. About 35% is collected through the 18 mill non-homestead. First money in the bucket. There's our bucket. We have an unsuccessful November election because for some reason folks don't get the idea that they get to vote yes and not pay. We can keep hammering that home to them, right? But no homestead millage is collected, so no first money is in the bucket, just what the school aid fund gives, and now we've lost $14 million, and that's going to take some serious slashing and burning if that happens. And it won't, because I'm very confident that we will tell this story, people will understand, and they will vote. But it's new. If it was just 18 all over again, like it's always been since 1993, but we've got to explain what's going on. And so you have to understand it. You have to help explain it. This directly impacts, as do I. We all do. Let's say it that way. But we all have to explain it because this directly impacts everything that we do. All right, what's the last day to register to vote? It's a big one. It's a presidential election. October 11th is the last day to register. And Those are the various township offices, city offices. If you're not registered, please register. Please encourage your seniors who are 18 to register, you government teachers and everybody else. Explain to them what's going on. Encourage your friends and neighbors not only to register but to vote. All right. The form is right online. It's really easy to get, fill out. You can mail it in. You can drop it off at any of those places. All right. Let's shift gears a little bit. Something that's outside of the realm of taxes and levies and all that kind of stuff. Each summer, I spend some time with folks in the district, and we develop our district excellence poster, an opportunity for us to brag about everything that went on over the past year, all the achievements of our students, really facilitated by you folks in all of your different roles supporting our students. And in this particular case, this shows where our graduates are going to college, and they're probably there or headed there already. But it's a fun time. It's a fun time for me in the summer. I know summer's the time for rejuvenating batteries and getting all psyched up again. It's a fun time because everything I'm looking at is an accomplishment, and achievement is a positive when we're putting this together. So I'm feeling really good. And I go on Twitter, and I see this. Okay. And it says, GOP nominee Donald Trump says his daughter Ivanka, along with a group of experts, is devising a plan for education reform. Now, this is political. This is not partisan because, folks, I don't want Chelsea Clinton developing national education policy either. We've lived through this. This is so I'm feeling kind of discouraged about this and feeling kind of angry because, in my mind, you folks work extremely hard. We all work very hard. We've all dedicated. We've all sacrificed on many levels to do the things that we're doing in the service of our kids. And so I'm feeling as though I'm feeling kind of disrespected. But at the same time, as is often the case, when you're feeling one way, you're feeling not so great about something, this was also on Twitter that day. And this is a teacher who posted, "I teach because I believe that the future is full of hope, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Hashtag why I teach." And I noticed that I had been seeing those a lot over the last month or so. And I said, this has got to be some kind of organized method or endeavor. So I looked it up, and indeed, hashtag why I teach is from the Teacher to Teacher group, and it's designed to help teachers share their own why I teach story with others, to build community, to spread inspiration, to communicate the importance of the profession. And I thought long and hard about that. Because just like minutes before, I was feeling pretty darn disrespected. And I said, well, I can just wallow in that, or I can do something about it. I can get out there like these folks are getting out there and build community. We can encourage one another, and we can communicate the importance of what we do. Because though I think people believe it, they don't necessarily believe it, or they don't talk about it, about how important it is what we do. They say it, but how much do they really believe it? And so I found all the materials from the Teacher to Teacher program about why I teach. Okay. And I've talked to your principals, and I know we have some folks who aren't teachers in the room, and your principals can work with you on those things in doing this activity if you want. Larry with your bus drivers. Okay. Kirk with your custodians. But why I teach. You will be given today in your staff meeting a why I teach thought bubble. All right? And we're going to ask that every one of you give it some thought, reflect a little bit, remember why we're doing it. We're building community not only within our school, within our district, but we're also hopefully supporting one another and inspiring one another, because there will be days when we're a bit discouraged, when we're feeling a bit disrespected. We want to share with our parents who walk through the doors why it is we do what we do and what we do for their sons and daughters. How much hope we have for them. So step 2. Now this is an optional step, because I know some of you are social media leery, and that's perfectly fine. Okay? But if you're willing, take a photo of the story bubble, post it to social media, and connect with the wider teacher-to-teacher movement. Because again, we are building community larger than just our school and our district. Let's be part of a larger educational community. And as part of a larger educational community, maybe we'll have a little bit more influence on what happens in the state and nationwide, where folks are without any credentials, without any understanding, without any experience, are setting policy for us. Turn your story bubble into your principal. I've asked them to reserve a space in a very high-profile area so that we can put them all up. You might want to have some fun with this. I have given your principals all the materials. They have some blank story bubbles. Maybe an opening student activity can be why I learned. And kids in your class can think a little bit about that. Or anything else that you would like to try to do with them. So here's another person from ISD 279 in some state I don't know. She says to give all students the opportunity to find the special gift within them and share it with the world. Here's a group. Talk about building community. If you want to take your picture, this doesn't have to be an isolated lone wolf activity. Get together with some folks. Have some fun with it. Post a group of you. Color it. Do a little art. Be artistic. So that, again, when we come into your buildings, when your parents come into your buildings, when community members, when the delivery man comes in your building, right? They will see how important the work is that you folks are doing and why you do it, and how important it is to all of us, and how important it is to our future. So, I said the social media piece was optional. Again, none of us are too cool not to do the Why I Teach thought bubble, or too goofy looking. So, why I lead. I genuinely believe in the common good in public schools. It's that simple, folks. I believe in what we do. Because I believe in the common good, I'm also have been a board member with United Way of St. Clair County for the past 3 years. And I'd like to introduce a familiar and much better looking face, Keitha Knuth, who will talk to us a little bit about United Way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome back. It's really great to see all of you. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk directly with each of you, but it's great to be here, and I have to say it brings a smile to my heart to be here today. Thanks to Dr. Slalka for allowing me to speak on behalf of an organization that helps so many people in our community, the United Way. My husband John and I are honored this year to lead the United Way's Education Division of Fundraising. Education is the greatest service profession ever, in which we spend our lives knowing that giving of ourselves brings far greater satisfaction than getting. Over the years, United Way programs and services have given directly to our East China students and their families, which is why our district has such a long history of our campaign participation. At this time, I ask that you join me in watching the 2016 United Way campaign video.
Hi, my name is Ella. Last year, my dad brought home this button. I asked him where he got it from. He told me United Way. So I began to ask more questions. My parents couldn't answer everything, so my mom called United Way and asked if I could meet them. It was really neat, because I learned a lot. And because I had so many amazing questions, United Way asked if I could help them. Ta-da! Reporter Ella at your service. But what about me? United Way said that I get to do this. Can I be in it too? I'll see what I can do, Layla. That was my sister. She got to come along. Where was I? Oh, talking about my visit with United Way. I learned they have a whole bunch of heroes that give them money. And sometimes those heroes help decide where the money goes. They kept talking about their core values, which is being local, accountable, and volunteer-driven. As a reporter, I discovered what those core values meant. First, I met a deputy and a firefighter in Elginak, and we talked about what being local means. Thank you for meeting me, Mrs. Danielson and Mr. Doan.
Welcome to our town, Ella.
How long have you supported the United Way?
Actually, not very long,
Why not?
because I didn't know how the United Way impacted our town until recently.
What do you mean?
I saw a ramp being constructed at a resident's home, and I checked it out. It was being built by the ramp crew and was paid for by the United Way. The ramp was something visible, but I learned United Way does so much more behind the scenes every day.
Last year they helped over 100 local residents. Programs focus on youth, health, and senior services.
What else do they do that's local?
I like knowing the dollars that are given here stay here, and they help the people who raise their families here.
Luckily, the United Way is there to save the day. And thank you for your support by being local hometown heroes. Holy information, Batman! Oh, Layla. It was a lot of detail. That's gotta be the reason why my parents had a hard time answering my questions. Guess what? United Way told me they helped 12,632 people last year. Next, I met the county sheriff, and we talked about accountability. Thank you for meeting with me, Sheriff Donlan. I'd like to understand why you think United Way is accountable to its donors and its residents.
Well, it's my pleasure, Ella.
Did you know the money that is raised here stays here?
I sure do. I'm actually secretary of the board, and we make certain the United Way helps residents in every town in St. Clair County.
What else does United Way do to be responsible?
The volunteers monitor the money closely by using everyday people.
Like who?
Hometown heroes, like bankers, industrial employees, retail store workers, accountants, and retirees. They make sure the money is helping our residents and they are following the policies set by the board. In the western area of the county, we have 1 volunteer serving on our review committee and 3 volunteers on our board.
So people like my own family can make the decisions?
They sure can, Ella.
Where does the money go?
Last year, they funded 43 programs, such as People's Clinic, which helps people with their medical prescription needs.
That's neat.
It's a responsible community investment.
Thank you for keeping our town safe. Next, I went to St. Clair and learned what United Way means when they say they are volunteer-driven. I met Wade, who works at Cargill Salt. Hi, Wade. Thank you for meeting me. United Way talked about being volunteer-driven. And I hear you can help explain what that means.
Sure, Ella. I've been involved with United Way for 18 years. I've worked with people at Cargill who volunteered in nearly every capacity of the organization.
How do they do it?
The volunteers on the campaign cabinet raise the money. Then the volunteers on the Citizen Review Committee spend the money. And the board of directors, they approve the recommendation, and they're the administrator of the entire organization. It's really cool. I've watched United Way help and address the needs of so many people throughout the years.
Sounds like volunteers do an awesome job.
They do, and they're accountable by making certain everything stays here, in our hometown.
Thank you, Wade. That covers core values, but there's still more. I got to make the McPhail family. I learned that our hometown heroes are everywhere. They reached out to United Way, never realizing what they could do. Thank Thank you for meeting me. United Way said that they helped your family.
Yeah, last year on May 2nd, I had gotten a call that my son Nick had been in a terrible accident.
I was on my dirt bike. I had fallen before, but this time was different. I couldn't feel my legs because I was paralyzed.
So what happened next?
I was in intense therapy for about a year.
Throughout this process, Nick's independence and positive attitude has never changed. He has grown and overcome the odds. United Way was there to help our son Nick. They were here to help build a ramp, and the ramp gave us peace of mind because we knew that our son would be safe at his home if there were ever an emergency.
They also helped connect me with other programs and services to help offset expenses.
They've done so much more than I ever imagined for our son Nick. Thank you.
I'm grateful every day because I'm still improving and have been able to remain living in my own home.
Thank you for your time and sharing your story. Wow! I had no idea United Way does so much. Luckily, our hometown really works together to help people. Finally, I shared what I learned with Becky Smith, President and CEO of Lake Huron Medical Center.
Thank you for your help, Ella. I heard your sister was here too.
Yes, she was in the studio.
That's great. I believe in families in our community supporting one another. What did you learn about the United Way?
After my interviews, I realized they use hometown heroes to make sure all the money is really helping local people. Even though United Way's core values are different, they are alike. Without being local, accountable, and volunteer-driven, there wouldn't be a United Way. They can't do all the amazing things without everyone coming together to support it.
You've done a great job capturing what United Way is and how our hometown heroes help local residents. I was born and raised here. This is my hometown. I'm proud to be a part of United Way because we're helping 23 organizations that do not have the ability to raise money on their own.
Thank you.
Ella has explained the core values, but without our hometown heroes, we could not have impacted 43 programs last year. As the 2016 campaign chair, I encourage you to join me to impact the community by giving to United Way of St. Clair County. Thank you.
Working hard to provide their great education. In turn, we are just as fortunate to have the opportunity to influence young people's lives. I've found that there are very few things in retirement that are as challenging, rewarding, and valuable as what you will all get to do next Tuesday and throughout the school year, which is help students become great people. I pray you enjoy each moment. On behalf of our community, I thank you for considering a gift, great or small, to our United Way. It is both greatly needed and appreciated. And if you or your family are in need, call the national 211 number, which connects you to our local United Way funded community resources. Thank you so much, and have the best school year ever.
Thank you, Keitha. To close, I want to again say, because I can never say it enough, what you do is important and what you do matters. So let me close by saying, make sure that what you do, you never cheat what you do. We need your best effort. Your peers need your best effort. Your students need your best effort. Your profession needs your best effort. Support one another, encourage one another, inspire one another, so that in turn, every day, we support, encourage, and inspire the students we serve. ECEA members, you'll be staying here for your annual General Assembly meeting. Everyone else, have a wonderful 16-17 school year. Best of luck.